A Saudi employee started his shift as usual in his office at the Saudi Aramco oil company. He sat at his desk like any other day and inserted a flash drive into his computer, like any employee gathering data or finishing work. But this specific time, the employee's action changed Aramco forever. The world's largest oil company was about to face an attack capable of destroying it because of the flash drive the employee had inserted. It contained a powerful virus that started spreading through the company's network like wildfire, moving from one device to another unnoticed. Within a short time, more than 30,000 computers were affected, and a picture of the American flag burning started to appear on all the company's screens, visible to all employees in Aramco's offices. This attack was not a simple one. It was the largest cyber attack the company had faced in its history. Aramco's executives feared the worst, because if the hackers could reach the oil storage tanks, any minor change in the oil flow rate or temperature could lead to massive casualties, loss of life, and billions of dollars in losses. Not to mention the potential shutdown of global oil supplies, which could paralyze shipping and supply chains worldwide. The question on everyone's mind was, who were these hackers? What was their motive? And what was the connection between Iran and America to what happened? It was a seemingly ordinary day during the holy month of Ramadan, but life was not ordinary at all for us as Muslims. This day, in particular, was the 27th night of Ramadan, and as we know, these last nights are important throughout the year for us, especially the 27th night, as there is a possibility that it is the blessed Laylat al-Qadr, which is considered by God to be better than 1,000 months. Most Muslim employees, who make up the majority of the company, were not present at work on this night. Those who were there were a few non-Muslim foreign employees, just to keep things running on a routine basis. This meant the number of employees was very small at the time, giving the hackers a unique opportunity to execute the first strike. The time was 9:08 a.m. The hackers posted a warning on Pastebin, threatening to destroy all of Aramco's systems and networks. It was strange that there was no mention of stealing data, threatening to leak sensitive information, or anything of value, because the sole purpose of this attack, according to them, as the hackers stated, was to destroy the company itself. They explained that the reason behind it was that Aramco, according to them, was helping to fund certain groups in countries like Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and many others. This means the attack was purely politically motivated, not for data theft, blackmail, or money. But at the time, the employees almost ignored the post, thinking it was a joke, and that's why no one paid attention, as most of the Muslim employees were away from the company at the time. And so, time passed. 2 hours later, at exactly 11:08 a.m., the virus was activated and spread rapidly through the entire network. At that moment, a powerful virus spread to all of the company's computers by copying itself to every connected device, and it began permanently deleting all files from the devices so they couldn't be recovered. This virus bypassed the master boot record, which is essential for the basic operation of the system or device. This means that if something was deleted or corrupted, the virus couldn't be stopped quickly, and it would have been a global disaster, because Aramco is one of the largest oil companies in the world, and almost half of the planet's population depends on it for energy and oil, directly and indirectly. The virus was named Shamoon. The Shamoon virus began to quickly copy itself to the rest of the computers in the company, and then installed itself as a permanent service on the device called NT service, which kept it running and hidden inside the system without being easily detected. From its location, it could take full control of the hard drives and began deleting every file on the devices it entered. Then it destroyed the master boot record, which is the foundation of the device's operation, and the systems themselves were completely destroyed, rendering all hard drives useless. The only way to fix it was to remove all these hard drives, discard them, and install new ones, and of course, a new operating system like Windows. But the problem was that the virus had spread to literally every device in the company. This meant that the company was forced to replace more than 30,000 hard drives. And yes, you heard that right, more than 30,000. The number is huge and costly, but of course, the disaster was not in the cost or the money. The problem was much bigger and more important than that. All the files were deleted and the hard drives were destroyed. Even the backup servers, which are supposed to preserve data, were also targeted and hit. In the midst of this disaster, the few employees who were there at the time made an emergency call at the highest speed to try and act before the situation got more out of control. But unfortunately, it was too late. The damage caused by the virus had started to become almost impossible to fix. For this reason, they all quickly went to the company's CEO, who in turn made a quick decision to try and salvage the situation before it got any worse, and before the virus could reach the oil storage and vital facilities. The first step was to disconnect every computer in the company, even the devices connected to the Aramco network, to prevent the virus from spreading or causing any additional damage. Because if the devices remained connected to the internet, the hackers could have caused disasters, such as attacking the oil tanks, which could have led to a national catastrophe. So it was necessary to completely isolate the company from any internet threats. They actually announced on social media pages that they were forced to halt production operations for the sake of public safety and to raise awareness about the cyber attack that occurred due to its size and huge impact. After that, they began to conduct a comprehensive forensic investigation and tried to understand more about the attack, what its source was, what happened, and how. While analyzing, they discovered something that shocked them. Aramco had almost no strong cyber protection system. All the focus was only on protecting the industrial systems and oil plants. But the protection of the internal computer networks was almost zero. Fortunately, the industrial systems were not affected because they were quickly disconnected from the main network before the virus could reach them. When the analysts studied the virus itself, they noticed a word that was repeated in the virus files, the word shamoon, which they understood to be a Persian word or name used in Iran but not famous. This made the team suspect that Iranian hackers were behind the attack, which was very logical, especially after they saw the content of the threat message that the hackers had published before the attack. But of course, an announcement was made immediately to replace all the hard drives that were deleted or affected. About 35,000 hard drives were purchased and delivered, to the extent that it caused a temporary shortage in the market at the time and raised the prices of hard drives for a period. At the same time, Aramco began hiring a number of cybersecurity experts from all over the world to study the shamoon virus and to start building the company's network infrastructure again, making it stronger, more secure, and more difficult to penetrate. This was in preparation for any cyber attack that might happen again from the shamoon virus or others. A few days after the attack, specifically on August 25th, 2012, Aramco posted on its social media page saying that it had managed to restore all its internal network services better. But the truth was not like that at all, because the pictures that spread on the internet and in the newspapers proved that the production had not returned to normal, as they said. And there were long queues of oil trucks that spread widely on the internet. And the work routine for employees was a huge mess for long days. There were no working computers, and there was no clear way. And because of this great chaos at the time, it was a wise decision by Aramco itself not to announce the true extent of the damage, which was much greater than what was told to the public. Also, its industrial systems did not work completely because there was no working network to record or transfer important data and information, which was of course essential for production to work efficiently. And at the time when they thought the problem was solved and things had calmed down, a new group of hackers appeared and heated things up again. On August 29th, 2012, the hackers published another message on Passman saying that they were not finished with Aramco yet, and they started leaking sensitive internal information such as the company's system data, accounts, and passwords, all of which they were able to obtain through the first attack. They also leaked information about the CEO's accounts and password, which served as proof. Once again, after the first attack, although the damage was not the same magnitude as the disaster caused by the shamoon virus before it, the negative impact was still there in affecting the nature of work, and the company did not return to normal work or fully restore all its operations until December of the same year. Aramco was not the only one affected by the shamoon virus, because just one day after the attack on Aramco, the Qatari company Ras Gas also suffered the same attack, along with other energy companies in the oil-rich regions around the world. But the damage was not as great as the damage resulting from the attack on Aramco itself. Of course, there are accusations that Iran was responsible for this attack, and it is said that it was a reaction to the strong relations between America and Saudi Arabia, especially since a Saudi company was among the targets. Also, because of the picture that appeared on the computers, which had the American flag burning, suspicions about Iran increased. But Iran officially denied the accusations, and to this day, the group named Sura remains unknown, and the nationality of its members is not known, and no official body has located or arrested them. Unlike other hacker groups, they were not trying to steal data. They were like activists whose goal was to bring down Aramco and the other companies. And although their true motive is still not understood because they did not benefit from the attack, it is enough that they were able to create a virus that we can call a digital weapon that can, of course, delete and destroy all computers, which were no less than 30,000 computers in a giant company ranked among the top 10 companies. And as for the name of the virus, whether it's Shamoon or Shamoon, I think in the end it doesn't matter, since the two names are considered one because they did one thing.